to meet you. Thanks for being here. Welcome everybody who just joined. We're just getting everyone clicking right at 4 p.m. It's a great time to join.
So JP, it's Kate. I have my 17-year-old son who I've asked to join the webinar, and he actually said yes.
Wow, exciting.
And I know, I'm really excited too. He's saying there's no option for 2 to 3. He said all it's saying is 4 to 5, and I'm telling him Eastern Standard Time. So what's the best way for him to get on?
If you send him the email that you got with the confirmation, he can click on those links to join, and then he'll get the Zoom link right there.
Perfect.
Hey, Nicola, hi. Welcome to the call, everybody. I see Colin's here. Hope you had a good summer, Colin. Jennifer Bader, welcome. Can't wait to hear about your fall. And I think you automatically have your mics muted and your cameras off. If you feel like a moment of connection, this is your chance. You can connect. If you don't feel like it, that's okay too. You might have been on Zoom all day and it's 4 p.m. and you're tired of it. So you get to pick. But I'll certainly make this session interactive though, because I want to make sure that we get to some interesting questions about the challenge mindset, the challenge cards, and what it is that you're working on. And on my end, I can't wait to update you on what I've been working on. Danielle, welcome to the call. Thanks for being here.
Hi, really nice to meet you. I work with Jill Eddy at SMU.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, great.
Yeah, really excited to be here and meet everyone. Hello.
Hi, thanks for being here. And Cora joined, Laura. So I've got 4:02 Eastern time. I'm really okay with going another minute or two just to let people join the meeting. And one thing we can do, if you'd like, is I can share with you the slides that I'll be going through during the meeting, just in case you like going through them on your own, just in case you want to use them afterward. Feel free to use that. I just put that in the chat, and I'll be resending it actually, because as people join, I don't think they have access to the chat before they were there. So I'll resend that link in a second. Eugenie, nice to see you. Welcome. Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hi, Mimi. Nice to join. Nice of you to join. Thanks for being here. Oh, great. I think Jeffrey just joined. Now, Jeffrey, if my calculations are correct, it's 4 a.m. in Singapore. So I'm going to give you 2 bonus points for joining a call at 4 a.m. I'm thrilled that you're here.
That's dedication.
You bet. You bet. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because I know Jeffrey a little bit. So that's fantastic. Thanks for being here. 4:04, I think that's it. This is time, it's game time. So I'm gonna send you the link to my slides again, if you'd like to follow there. We're recording the session to send to other people if they miss it, but I've got a ton of stuff that I'd like to share with the group. So I suggest we get started, and I'm gonna share my screen. And Danielle, you pop up. I can still see you on Zoom. So do you mind giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you can see what I'm sharing, just because you can be my cue. Can you see this? Yeah, thank you. Great. So we're here to talk about helping our students reach their potential, helping the people that we serve reach their potential, and this is my favorite topic. So I'm really glad that you made the time to be here. I can't wait to see what comes of this meeting. So for those of you who haven't met, like we haven't met yet, I want to tell you about my background. I studied industrial organizational psychology. I'm from Ottawa in Canada. I'm here today in a co-working space. And I then studied industrial organizational psychology, a type of psychology that studies the workplace. So I'm approaching career exploration from a workforce development perspective. I did human resources consulting for 8 years. 5 of them were for this American company called DDI, Development Dimensions International, based in Pittsburgh. I worked for them for 2 years in Montreal and 2.5 years in Pittsburgh. And through that time, I got to consult with several different companies in the private sector and the public sector. And we did coaching programs, training programs, assessment programs. And I got to watch hundreds of leaders transition between different milestones in their careers. And the insights I got from that time, I used to create a new approach to career exploration called the challenge mindset. And to do that, the vehicle for my mission is my company called SparkPath. And it's helping me change the way that we're doing career exploration. And I shouldn't say me because that's really inaccurate. It's really about you, the people that are on this call that are doing all of the magic. So that's a part that I'd like to celebrate today. And, you know, having worked with all these different organizations, I got to work with some of the world's most admired companies, Care Canada, YMCA. I also got to work with some of the world's least admired companies, BP, immediately after the Deepwater Horizon crisis, Walmart, pharmaceuticals, mining. Through this experience, I learned a lot about career exploration, and there's so many insights that I'd like to bring to life for students and other people who need these insights for guidance in their future. So the way I want to tackle it today is, why are the people that we're working with, whether they're students or adults, why are they stuck and how can we help them? I want to talk about this context in the context of COVID. We'll look at the challenge mindset and how it's used. And then I want to go and respond to the questions that you submitted and you will submit. And then we'll have a quick discussion. And then we'll talk about next steps. So let's start. Let's do it. I'm just going to make sure I let everybody in, admit everybody. I think that will work. So why are our students stuck? Well, I bet together we could come up with a humongous list of reasons. Let me give you 4 to get us started. They feel like they need to pick one thing for the rest of their lives. Isn't that sad? What a sad way of looking at it. They only know a few options that exist in the world of work, and they have very linear thinking in the sense of they think, oh, I'm a math major, I will become a mathematician. And because of this linear thinking boxed in and all this pressure to pick the right thing, they are discouraged. And there are tremendous human costs and economic costs to this way of thinking. The human costs are what you see every day when you see these students. You see it in their faces. And if things don't change, not only will they suffer, but the schools that we work for will suffer as an institution. But there's good news. There's a hero to the rescue. You're that hero that's going to change this, and you know you can because you've done it already hundreds of times. And that's also the reason why you're on this call, is because you're a difference maker that helps students transcend this state of stuck. You get them unstuck. And what does unstuck really mean? Well, it can mean so many things, but you help them move beyond picking one thing to exploring challenges that they can work on. You help them broaden their horizons so that they look beyond just one job title that they'll have. And you help them learn that there's so many challenges to work on in the world. It's not linear. There's so many ways to help. You can help them contribute by picking up a skilled trade. There's so many different contributions. And once they meet with you, they leave inspired. And what's the financial return on investment of taking students from stuck to unstuck, from discouraged to inspiration? I don't know exactly, but my estimate is that it's astronomical, okay? and you can probably tell like I'm at a 10 out of 10 in terms of excitement right now. Well, it's because I get to talk to you guys about this, okay? Because I think that your impact is so huge that your boss should double your salary. Did you get that? A lot of you on this call are actually the bosses. So let's look at it different for you. So if you're the boss, well, I think your budget for your department should be doubled, okay? Let's put that into action. That's how important I think the work that you're doing is, okay? And you're gonna give your students energy, but let's break it down technically. What are you technically doing to achieve this? And I'll invite you to pay attention to the next slide because I'm actually gonna ask you to teach it to someone right after this call. I think that's the best way to learn and crystallize something. So this could be your wife, your husband, your employee, even a student, someone you work with. Really the best way to learn is by teaching them. So here it is, okay? I've just talked about stuck and unstuck, and let's watch how this looks in two different states. Let's talk about the first state, the job title mindset. To me, there's two different ways of looking at the world in the space of careers. The first way is that if you think the world of work is about job titles, your job is to help people find a job title, okay? I hope that doesn't resonate with you, okay? And I think that's why you joined this call, because that doesn't. So if you think the world's about job titles, what you have to do is help people make a better decision, the right decision, the one decision. And success for you should be commitment. I've gotten a 15-year-old student to commit to one job for the rest of their lives. So this is I'm trying to anti-sell you, okay? I'm not sure, this is not the approach that I think is best, okay? I think the best approach is a challenge mindset. This is a different way of seeing the world though. In the challenge mindset, you think that your role is to help students explore challenges that exist in the world. You want to help them learn career skills like introspection, finding their strengths, how they can contribute, learning how to research organizations, connect for informational interviews. And success for you is an empowered student that's taking meaningful action and that is also ready to adapt. And why ready to adapt? Well, because you assume that the future of the world will change. Things will change in the future. So you want young people that are ready to adapt. Now, another way of explaining this is on the left, you are a matchmaker. Okay? If you live on the left side, you're a matchmaker. You memorize the list of 20,000 job titles in the world. You find a way to measure students and then you match them. Again, if that didn't appeal to you, I didn't want it to. On the right side, your capabilities, your skills, what your worth is completely different. And that's what we're going to explore today. Amy, thanks for the positive encouragement. I love it. Let's actually get to work as a group. Can you tell me what challenges light you up in the world? Can you vote by using the Zoom chat? Can you tell me in the Zoom chat, if you had to choose between creating new artificial intelligence and ending extreme poverty, what would you choose? What's the challenge that speaks the most to you? I'm going to vote myself. I'll enter my choice, which is end extreme poverty, same as Simone, same as Kaylee, same as Colin. Amy, the first different thinker that picked AI. Could you imagine if Amy and I had a one-on-one coaching session, the incredible things she would tell me about her choice? I could ask her, why did you choose that? What difference do you want to make in the world when it comes to that? What skills do you have that could help contribute to create new artificial intelligence? Bernadette even figured out that you can pick your own challenge to work on, like remove greed. How can we create a world without greed, which is fantastic. Back to Amy though, or Annabelle, imagine if we had a conversation about this. When you asked young people to talk about the challenges that they choose, you hear their values, their experiences, their interests, their story. The data that you get from that is so, so rich. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Can you tell me, would you rather redesign the healthcare system or improve sustainable energy? What's gonna win? This is our challenge face-off for the day. Healthcare. Dominique, you picked sustainable energy. Great. Simon, Colleen, Lara, great. Cora, you got improved sustainable energy. This is great. This is great. So what we're doing, what you're seeing is a version of the challenge face-off, an activity you can literally do tomorrow with a group of students on your webinar. You have my slides. Did I send them to you yet? Yeah, I'll send them to you again. These are my slides. You can literally use these slides in a presentation tomorrow. Why would you do this? Well, what if you could inoculate some of your students against the job title mindset? What if just by doing the challenge face-off and getting them to choose, you can help them move from this state to this state? What life-changing difference could you make for them by freeing them to see this world through this unique lens? Now, I do this very practically with the challenges, and it leads us to flipping the career model. Let me show you what I mean. Traditionally, what we've been asked to do when we do careers is to ask students, what's your favorite class in high school? If you like math, we can recommend a program. Accounting is a very credible program where you can use math skills. It will help you become an accountant. You will work for a firm of accountants. Well, what's going on with these students once we send them into the world? They figure out what's the challenges that we're trying to work on. Maybe as an accountant, this young person is helping corporations pay as little amount of tax as possible. And maybe they love that challenge, or maybe they hate it. What I'm asking you today is what would happen if you flip the model for students? What if you showed them exciting challenges to work on first? Then you help them research companies working on those challenges, the people who work there, what jobs they have, and what they had to learn to be able to do that. You could take a disengaged students and give them a why. Why am I in school? Well, you're here to learn something important that will help you work on a challenge that you care about. And this is a very important slide. Amy, you nailed it because it builds hope. I want students to get a sense of hope. And not only does it build hope, but one of the impacts that it had on students when I did this in the classroom is that it made them feel more prepared to have a successful career, okay? I did this with 3 classrooms, 105 students, and I did a pre and a post. And the amount of people who said, I agree or strongly agree with this statement of I'm prepared to have a successful career doubled. My hypothesis is this, it doubled because of this slide. No one has taught them to think about careers in this way. And I call this flipping the model. And now you're equipping them to do this process continuously throughout their lives because they're going to have to do it multiple times and you've just equipped them. This is the whole teaching them how to fish idea just through this one slide. It does build creativity and it does focus more on meeting great additions. Okay, so we've talked about the impact that this can have. Just to share more broadly the scope of what's going on, like I put out the first version of the challenge cards in 2017. Since then, people on this call and many more have helped me improve them. And now we're at the state where there's 17,000 decks of cards in use all over the world. And Jeffrey, you're a part of that and, you know, broadening the horizons on a global scale of the challenge mindset. We've got 4,000 students using the digital version of the cards. I'll show you what that looks like in case you're curious. And there's 40 schools that are subscribed to the digital challenge cards. They have an unlimited subscription to use them. For this approach, what's the role of the job title? Eugenie, that's a great question because I don't want to eliminate the role of the job title. You still need one. It helps, you know, give you some sense of structure. I'm just asking the entire field of career education, can we not lead with it? Can we not ask students, what do you want to be when you grow up and make them pick one? I want them to first think about the world of work exists, labor market. The labor market is driven by problems to solve. That's why companies are created, okay? And then from there, companies try to decide a structure, departments, groups, jobs. Jobs are made to help solve problems. Just with that quick logic, students are way more equipped to digest what the world of work is and what their role in it. So job titles are there, they just come much later in the process. Now, what we're trying to do is start this new conversation on a global scale. And I want to tell you very simply how we take this theoretical concept of the challenge mindset, we make it very concrete. And we do this through the challenge cards. And now what you're looking at, by the way, is the digital challenge cards. I'm in a student account, and the student is confronted with a challenge, and they're asked, are you interested in this? Reverse engineering the brain? Not interested, interested, or super interested? For me, I studied psychology. This lights me up, super interested. So when they choose super interested, what happens is that, that gets saved in the system. So now they can say, well, do you want to help others solve problems? Oh, that's kind of cool. I'm just interested, though not as much. Help teams achieve. You know what? That one's not for me. I don't want to run my own business either. Create sustainable energy. Create sustainable energy. Oh, I like that. Protect biodiversity and landscape. Wait, what does that mean? Okay, let me read more here. Humans have the capabilities. Oh, very cool. I can learn more about what's coming up here. Look at some sample careers. Wow, there's a lot of different ways I can contribute to this challenge. You know what? I want to do it. So on and so forth. There's 53 different challenges. And once they've sorted through all 53, they get to pick their favorite ones. So let's see. What did I pick? You know what? I want to make stuff beautiful. I want to protect biodiversity and landscape, and probably build the school of the future. That's what I'm going to do. And once I click confirm, this was probably the biggest innovation since the actual creation of the cards, was the creation of the challenge profile. This report is really simple. It helps students see, well, what did I pick? Which cards did I pick and why? Sorry, my Adobe is just reading that for accessibility. So yeah, what did I pick and why? Okay, I picked Make It Beautiful. What's the information here? What are some careers? I can read each one. And then I have several recommendations for career practitioners here. Like they can ask students, just like I said, I would ask, I don't remember if it was Amy that said, like, here's what I would pick. I would pick AI. Well, why did you pick this challenge? What difference do you want to make in the world when it comes to that? What skills do you have that could contribute? And this is where meaning is made, okay? This is the most important step in the process. I'm going to unshare just because for some reason I feel like I want to connect here. I probably want to connect because this is where you come in, okay? I didn't create an assessment tool that is some sort of magical online robot that automates the process. This is a process that requires meaning making, and that's what I need your help with, okay? So some of you have the luxury of doing this one-on-one. Some of you would rather do this in a group. Some of you will ask your students to reflect on this in an essay format online, but it needs to be discussed. There needs to be a conversation around people's choices. And that was my intent when I put it out, but I've also seen it reflected. Because thousands of students have used it. They gave us feedback. The students who were set up for success, they've gotten the best results. And the ones who weren't told anything about it, they started the process with the job title mindset. So they came in hunting for a job title, and it doesn't work as well. You know, and worst case scenario, we've gotten negative feedback in the likes of, why did you make it so complicated for me to find my job title? which is fine, because if you came in hunting for just the job title, of course the additional layer of the challenges feels like more distance. But if you're set up in the right way, for example, the students who watch the challenge mindset TEDx talk, they're set up for success, right? They get the context, okay? The students that do the challenge face-off, the same one that we did as a group, they're set up for success. So this is going to go way better beforehand. So if you set it up the right way, and then you debrief it meaningfully, you exponentially increase your chances of getting meaningful results. And I think that's probably why you're on this call, is because that's what your goal is. That's what your target is. So I wanted to check in and ask you a poll. I want to find out who's on the call. Let me see if I can ask you a cool little poll to find out who's here. So we've got 38 people here, and I wanted to ask you, have you used the challenge mindset before? Using the cards, do you have them? This is going to help me tailor the question and answer period. And then I'm curious about, during COVID-19, does that change your life? Do you have less time for career exploration? Do you have more time? Let's take another, well, we've been doing this for 25 seconds. Let's take another 25 seconds to get people's input. We're at 60% already response rate. Okay, great. 86%. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We got 33 out of 37 people. End polling, share results with everybody. Can you see that? Yeah, great. Head nods, thank you. New, 5. I know the challenge mindset, haven't used it yet, 5. I have said challenge cards, 13. That's great. And I use the digital and then other. And then, wow, 55% the same amount of time. Wow, that's encouraging. I was scared, just like a lot of people, right? That like this, I'm talking about life-changing work. We're doing life-changing work. And then just the fact that we might have less time to do it, that scares me, but it's the reality of what's going on. Great. I wonder if I could save this. This is a cool little poll. I don't know. I'll figure that out after the call. Okay. Thanks for sharing your insights with me. I've got a couple of things that I want to share, and then I would like to open up the floor to questions. So what happens after you help people pick problems to solve? Oh, and this is the part of the call where I say something you already know. The challenge mindset is free. That is because you can find problems to work on anywhere in the world. I used to do it by giving people a magazine, a newspaper. You might have already done it, in so many other ways, but you just didn't call it that before. Obviously, I have my tool, the challenge cards, to do it. But to me, that's just one way. Nicola, we always talk about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Some other schools that I've heard have done that too. There's so many ways of doing this. Obviously, I like my tool because I've put it out there in the world and I've gotten so much feedback to tweak it. And one of the biggest benefits of that feedback that I've gotten is that it gives so many different students, like a huge breadth of students, something to connect with. And just to talk about I guess, not to be too crude, but the lack of diversity on this call. I'm talking about the educational diversity. A lot of you on the call have master's degrees, advanced degrees, and we serve people who, are struggling to finish high school. We all want them to succeed and make a meaningful contribution in life, but to acknowledge our biases, like it's, we have, we did all these other things, right? So to put ourselves in their shoes is difficult, but because so many of those students and so many practitioners who that's what they love doing is working with those students, the challenge cards have helped reach so many different students, especially with some of the skilled trades offerings that we've had. Okay. Back to this report, what happens next? Notice which slide this connects with. You're going to ask students what companies are working on the challenges you care about, what jobs are they in, who works there, and what do you have to learn to be able to do what they do? And then guess what? You can talk to them. And the entire report walks them through this research process, which really unlocks a new way of looking at their careers that maybe they had never done before. So I think that's a game changer once a student discovers that they can actually look at the world. And this report, by the way, is just this slide operationalized with some spaces for them to read. One of an author that I really like, Adam Grant, I sent him a deck of the challenge cards when he wrote an article in the New York Times saying like, don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up. And I sent him the cards and he got a chance to review them. He gave me this nice piece of feedback about the question. What's the right question that we want to ask? So that was really validated to get it from his perspective. He's an organizational psychology person as well that teaches and writes. And I don't remember who said it on the call, but through this work, what we're doing is that we're teaching young people that the world needs them. And they might not be hearing this message that the world needs them because they may be hearing all the other messages of, the obstacles that they're facing, the fact that the job market is competitive and, it's hard to find the right career. And there are obstacles in their way, that's for sure. But the other reality is that the world needs them. And that's, Colleen, you really got it. It's a mission, right? It's like finding a mission. The reason I don't say a mission directly to students is that they still might think they need to pick one. but it's mission driven, it's purpose driven is what my preference say, small nuance there. And I want them to feel that hope, because if you can help them get that hope, that's the huge ROI that they're getting, because they're showing up to class in a completely different way if they have that sense of hope. And what a feeling for them to get. So, I love talking about youth just because maybe that's like a bias that I have. Maybe it's because I work with so many leaders when I was doing IO consulting. And every time I was consulting, the coaching I gave was in the context of the company, right? It's like, how can you help the company reach its goals? When I work with youth, it's like the sky's the limit. You can have any impact you want on the world. And I find that inspirational. However, that's just my preference. This strategy, the challenge mindset, even the tool crystal, the challenge cards, has been used with adults, is used with adults. We have career coaches that buy like a career coach subscription to the digital challenge cards, and the approach resonates with them. The plus is that you can really flex the approach based on the age of the students. Simone and I always talk about how can we use this with younger students, right, with lower literacy levels. And there is a cap there. Like, it's not unlimited. You cannot use this tool, I don't think, with a 6-year-old in the same way that you can with someone in grades 6, 7, and 8. Definitely in the future, we can make something for very, very young students, but there's a huge range that this can be used for. How to create hope to make a difference. Problems seem so daunting for young people. Well, to me, the best way to tackle that is to break it down to small steps, right? The first small step is just identify what speaks to you. And because you're sorting cards into piles and you're saying, I don't like it, I like it, or I like it a lot, it's so easy to work with. If you are with a student that feels intimidated after they've picked their top challenge card, it's all about breaking it down in smaller steps. So if they choose to redesign the healthcare system, you're gonna pick a small part of that. They might be able to verbalize it if you ask them, what's the small part of that? Or give me an example, or tell me about that. They can do it themselves. If they can't do it, you can do it just on your own knowledge. If that doesn't work, you guys can both look at the back of the card for inspiration about smaller pieces. But to me, that's always the first step, is breaking it down into a small one. I like the term multi-potentialites, Dominique, because it's away from the linear thinking that we keep going to, like you have to commit to this way of contributing. The truth is you probably have multiple ways of contributing. It removes the stress to pick one. Okay, great. I'm glad you're inspired. That's great. Well, let's stay in touch. Thank you. And I like the word calm, because it can definitely be overwhelming because you can meet with students who have too many things to do, too many options, and with students who have too few options. The approach, obviously, you have is slightly different for each one. There's a physical deck of cards. A lot of you have the physical copy. That's where it all started. And I put this up on my website, mysparkpath.com. And that's where this whole thing started. And the reason I made them digital is not because of COVID. Nobody knew that was going to happen, but it was because I wanted to help people go deeper. And that's what we're able to do with the challenge profile. And the intention with the tool is to really go even deeper, because a lot of you are sending me comments about, well, what about this? Can you add this? Can you put in this piece? And so far, we've systematically been able to add little pieces step by step in order to improve the tool. So watch this space for more changes that are coming. If you're curious about that, we can talk about that more often. Okay, some of you are in the classroom and you're working with groups. So you may be thinking about, like, what's a lesson plan for this? I like starting with the TEDx talk before. So you're setting them up for success, then they're doing the card sort, and then you debrief. You can do this on 3 different days if you want to. And then the rest of the week could be about researching companies, people, and jobs. I've got quite a few resources with our educator guide that walks you through the entire process. Once you get the digital cards or the physical cards, you get the educator guide, and you've got all sorts of recommendations for what you can do here. I know, Nicola, for example, you go way further by helping them actually do informational interviews, right, through the process, so they can actually get started now. Instead of waiting till after they graduate. Okay, does the virtual set use the top 3 choices to give combined results, job suggestions that are suited for meeting 2 or even 3 of the top choices. This is great. Tanya, I don't have your background here, but I hear this even more from higher ed practitioners, people in colleges and universities, and both use it, right? High schools, colleges, and universities, even for adults. And the ones who get to do more one-on-one, if that's you, you get to do more one-on-one, then you can do interesting things like, how do these 2 challenges overlap? What's the intersection points between these 2? What jobs exist that could contribute to either of these challenges? There's a lot to unfold and to unpack there. And I believe there's a tremendous power at the intersection of 2 different challenges. So let me know if that's what you were asking about. If it's not, just tell me and we'll dig in even further. Where are we trying to take students? Last thing I want to say before we open it up. We want students to feel empowered and taking meaningful action. To me, that's is great results, but the most meaningful part of this slide is the white part of the slide. Can I write on this? I wonder if I can point on this. Yeah, this is it. The white part of the slide. Why? Because I left out something really important. What did I leave out? I left out committing to one job forever, which is the metric for so many career systems right now, is that one job, that one plan that you're asking students to commit to. I don't think we should have that there because we're preparing them for a future with so much change, okay? 20 years ago, we had no idea what the internet was, okay? It didn't really make sense to people. Look at the impact of the internet now. And if you read blogs on the future of work, a lot of the phrase you'll hear is that the future has not, the internet has not started yet. And what people mean by that is the potential for the internet to change our lives has just scratched the surface. If you are connected with that, you know that we don't know what the future of work will bring. So we need to prepare students for change rather than have them commit long term. Thank you for the encouragement, Eugenie. I love it. I really am excited about this because I just figured, like, I wonder who you're going to talk to tomorrow. Like, who will you talk to tomorrow? And what will you say that will change their lives forever? You've already done it, right? You've changed someone's life forever by something you asked or something you said. And that gets me really excited. So Nicola, you see, reading stats now, youth will have 17 jobs across 5 to 6 industries. These are the estimates that we can make based on our knowledge so far. But just that number just shows you, how could we realistically administer the interest test, the classic Holland codes, without being extremely careful around telling students, you're not picking one thing for the rest of your life. And Vicky Lynn, yeah, we have a digital subscription available on the website. You can just click on schools and you can book a time to meet to find out like how to set that up. It's really easy to set up. And a lot of people ask, well, where does this idea come from? Well, we're coming from the idea that the goal is to get students empowered and taking meaningful action. And we want to free them from the job title mindset. So I want to move away from the academic model of decision-making certainty, which is a huge pillar in the field of careers, to say like, oh, you're successful because you help students make better decisions. What's a decision? Occupational choice. I chose an occupation that I want to take on. I don't think that's the metric of success anymore. So these are the constructs that I believe in instead. Self-efficacy, students who feel like they can make a difference, they can make an impact. Hope, I see possibilities for my future. Identity, I know who I am and how I can contribute. And adaptability, I'm prepared to change because I know the world of work will change. Okay, pause. Had a ton of fun talking. Thanks for listening. I love the questions that you've sent so far in the chat. Can we open it back up for people that have more questions, comments about the challenge mindset, the challenge cards? I love comments that have to do with how you think this might not work, because it may have come up for other people in the past. I can tell you what they've done, but I'm open to anything that you would like to talk about. Or we can do audio, or we can do Zoom chat like we've been doing, up to you. Okay, let's start with Mimi. Not all students will have the chance to go through this process at school. would you consider an online training for them? Only in the case that they were matched with someone like you. Maybe in the future, I'll have a system that can work independently and help them guide through the process. I'm not close to that. If there's some system where it's you that's guiding them through it, I would do that for them. So I currently have like I guess I would say a relic from the first version of my business. I used to be a career coach that worked one-on-one with students. Parents would find me, pay for a coaching program, and then I would work directly with their students. I love doing that. It was a ton of fun. But I found that all the students I was working with had a big problem. They were all obsessed with job titles, and I needed to fix that. So I made the challenge cards for my students, and then I put it online, and then like the whole trajectory of SparkPath changed. But I still believe it has to connect with a person who guides them through it. So thanks, Mimi, for asking. Danielle would love to ask something verbally. Okay, do you mind if well, you know what? Look at that. You asked first, so we'll go to Jennifer after you. So go ahead, Danielle.
Hi. So one of the things, I work in a university, and so do a lot of one-on-one work, both. And one of the things that we find a lot, whatever strategy we use, and we do use the challenge cards, and there's lots of research as to why this might be, from helicopter parents to educational systems that work creativity. But what I notice is that the stumbling block often with many approaches is the point at which we get to the imagining the possibilities moment. So right, in this case, it might be that they can think of a challenge, but then we get to well, what might that mean, right? Exploring different companies or different ideas. And so I'm always excited to talk to my colleagues about how they navigate that. And I'm curious if in my dream world, there would be on your site people who are actually, like, videos of people who were actually meeting, had chosen one challenge or a combination, and we're talking about how they had done that as a sort of, because I think in many cases with young people, because they haven't had a lot of life behind them, it's very hard to imagine what you don't know exists. And so as a career educator, I'm with them, and I can certainly help them within my realm of knowledge, which is constantly growing. But, I'm always excited for them to have tools to imagine of what might be possible. So I was just curious if you're thinking of it like kind of a next step around that, or.
Yeah, you bet. Love the question. Thank you for asking it. And I believe in what you're saying about students. Me too. I'm right there with you. Right now, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you future state. So current state, that part of the process, imagining the possibilities, I would call it manual. It's very manual in the sense that students have to do the research online. And that's a skill I want them to have long-term. Okay, so I'm not opposed to them learning those research skills, but I would love to bridge the gap, just like I did with the challenge cards, right? With the challenge cards, I stopped asking, what's the problem you want to solve? Why did I stop asking that question? Because they have no idea what I meant. And all I had to do was show them. So that was simple. But so it worked. And now they can imagine new challenges to work on. So good. So same thing for companies. I would like to show them companies that are working on challenges they care about. And then they'll be able to research it on their own. And so far, like, I've just gotten some, like, how do you say, like, temporary solutions. So in the educator guide, Danielle, I don't know if you have it, but if not, I'll send it to you. I've got an Excel spreadsheet with a list of 3 companies for, 30 of the challenge cards. So at least, boom, I've got examples for them. The next version of that, though, is another card sort for companies. So you do the challenge card sort, and then you do a card sort for companies. And there may be tie-ins, right? Like, based on the challenges you pick here are companies. I'm not there yet. I can't do it right now, but that's what I want to bring in the future. And then your other ideas will come after that. Well, who works there? You could show people, you could show videos. And I think it would help it bring it to life. I do want to say, though, that it can't be the traditional video. The traditional videos are typically this format: person's face, name, job title. And the pitch is, here's my job title. I'm selling you on my job title. Take this job title. So it's you know what I mean? And my hypothesis is they don't even like doing that, okay? If you want them to light up, ask them what problem they want to solve. So that's, my video will be name, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. And they can even talk about the problems they've solved before, but that will be a nuance to it. So thanks a lot for.
Yeah, no, and actually that's exactly what I meant was, and I think it's really interesting for them to see some different people solving the same problem. One might be a writer, one might be designing AI, you know, they're coming from all backgrounds, the arts, sciences, computer science, whatever, but they're all actually in different ways solving that problem. I think that would be hugely inspirational. So excited to hear that you're doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like having dreams, and I wish we could work on it right now, but I know I have 74 things to do first, but we'll get there. So Jennifer, how many challenges? Here's the history, Jennifer. There was 25, and then I got, you know, good feedback, positive feedback, as well as angry, you know, emails from people saying, how could you forget this? And they were right. Most people were right. Like, oh yeah, great, let's add that. So then we grew to 29. And then especially high school teachers said, we know that there are skilled trades in your challenge cards, but we need way more. So I made an entire other deck called the skilled trades cards. So if you go to my website, you'll see both decks. In practice, everyone was combining them. So they were just using them together. So that's how I made it online. And for the digital cards, the cards are combined together. In the future, obviously there's potential to add more cards. And when you're ready, I'm talking about like you specifically on this call, when you're ready, we're gonna have a competition for the next challenge card. That means your students who are really engaged, the really bright ones, you might invite them, or they might already be telling you like, there's one more we should add. And then we'll submit that and we'll add the new challenge cards based on a student submission. I love that idea because that's the challenge mindset in action. Nobody's pretending like we've created the dictionary of challenges to work on in the world. This is strictly an inspirational activity to get people to acquire the challenge mindset in the fastest, most enjoyable way possible. But then the rest is up to them, right? To discover new challenges to work on. So Jennifer, you asked that, and the invitation is set. You can, once you're ready to do that, let's do it. Eugenie, one challenge I see researching organizations conducting information. Teaching people to do this seems to be a challenge, you bet. And I've got some good literature on this. Nicola, you've got experience making it come to life, like selling people on it. But I'd love to add more material that breaks this down step by step to the most intimidating, like what are the intimidating parts and how do you get over that? I gotta say, this is as intimidating for the adults that I meet with than young people. But it's something that they benefit so much by doing. And this might be related to Danielle's idea, like even like seeing a video online of someone and seeing a mock interview being conducted, giving them templates for how to reach out to people, like that stuff helps. Long term, we want them to have that skill, but how can we gently introduce it so they get it quickly? Charlene, you agree with Danielle, especially high school, they don't know what they don't know. You got it. Eugenie, you want to ask a question? Okay, go ahead, Eugenie.
Well, I think you answered it. I guess it's just one of the things I've encountered is people, young people, it's kind of intimidating. I mean, I have to admit it's intimidating for myself to like, I think, oh, I'm going to do an informational interview with somebody. And, you know, people are shy or they don't know how to approach. And so I think if we could break those into into maybe some steps, but it just seems hard to have people realize that this really does involve a lot of research. You know, you have to research for these companies. How do you find them? How do you even look for them? You know, that you might be interested in this type of, like, say it's sustainable energy or something. How would you find companies that are working on that? You know, you take some time. And
you're
also people are shy.
You're completely right. And I'm upset. I'll tell you why I'm upset. Same reason I just told you. I'm upset that I can't do this on Sunday. Okay, because I have to do something else. But like, I just want to put it on the website, make it happen. But we'll get there eventually. Okay. Danielle, can you send me the company options list? Yes, it's a link in the educator guide. I will make sure to send that to you. Okay, to catch the attention of youth grades 9 to 12, how would you pose the initial question of what challenge you want to solve? I found that the younger students had no idea how to even conceptualize it. Well, you're hitting it on the head, the issue, because I don't ask that anymore. It was way too intimidating. All I say is, hey, look at this. Do you like it? And this is a challenge, right? Like, hey, redesign the healthcare system. Do you like it? Even that, like I'm like, oh, maybe that's too much to start with. Maybe I'll do a challenge face-off and help them choose between two. And the way I did this, Charlene, in the classroom is, by the way, let's not say the classroom because we're living in a Zoom world. So let's say it's Zoom, okay? You got 30 students on the call. You're gonna ask students, just like we did, which one would you vote for? And they have to type it in the chat. So it's like a big student engagement thing. So then they're in the chat, that they're voting, and then you can even have a face-off, like a competition, like the NHL playoffs or March Madness or FIFA, and then you got a winner, you know, at each round, and then you get a big winner at the end. That helps them conceptualize it. And if you have a whole hour to do this, I've done it in 20 minutes, but if you have like half an hour, you can ask them at each stage, why did you pick that? Can you say something to convince your friends to, you know, change their minds? That really helps them absorb it and make it very concrete. And then at the end, we pick a big winner and we say, this is the winner. And then a lot of people lost, and then they feel like it's unfair. You know, how did I lose the challenge face-off? And I tell them, if you don't choose the challenges you want to work on, someone else will choose for you. I think, Dominique, I think you sent me a message saying like you had just finished grad school or a program. It's like so many students go in the program. Like, what are you going to do now? Like, just apply to any place and hope that someone hires you? Or what if you think about the impact you want to have on the world, and then find a company that works on that, and then reach out and talk to that company? It's like such an empowering way of going through the process, right? Do you want to? Of course, you can reply to that because I just invited you. Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? Is that possible? Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I apologize for the accent. Sorry.
Oh no, I love accents are good.
Okay, so yeah, I reached out to you about that, and indeed, like a lot of people were just like, you know, shooting their shot pretty much everywhere because like they needed to get a job with the title. But I want to surf on what you were saying about reaching out and getting information from companies. My experience, having been on the other side of the desk and having worked for a big company that was so popular that would get so many inquiries, is that there would have a lot of pushback. Like we had to actually turn down inquiries of people who wanted to hear more about the company and to talk directly to people within, because we simply didn't have time. So what I was thinking is it might be a good idea to find people willing to mentor. Like on your website, there are already websites for that. But if we could just, you know, skip the middleman and connect people who do the challenge and who are willing to talk about the challenge.
Yeah, and so let's talk short term and long term. Short term, I wanted to make it so easy for them. So I love your idea. Long term, they still have to learn it to do themselves. And the question for what you said about your company is, yeah, you say right back. I'm still going to answer though. The question is, how many companies are in your position? And my hypothesis, Dominic, is that it's a small group of companies that are so, you know, in need, like the Apples of the world, right? For those companies, fine. Don't do one-on-one information interview coffees. Just wait till the end of the month, have one meeting. It's a webinar, it's online. That's a much easier way to serve those students. So that's what I'd recommend. In terms of what I'm doing with SparkPath in Quebec, I've partnered with a company called Academos. It's a nonprofit, and they're going to use, they got some digital challenge cards licenses. They're going to go around in schools, and they have the mentors already on their platform. That's their mission. I've got the challenges, and they're going to say, look, let's make this connection. So that's a potentially, we're exploring a partnership together. They're wonderful people who work there, and we're exploring that. And then Kate, yeah, and then we want to, you know, imagine doing a card sort, Kate, with internships. I think that would be really powerful. Jennifer Bader, you have done something unique, special. You were a leader when it came to the challenge cards. Can you tell us about what you've done and what you're working on? How's that for putting you on the spot, by the way?
Yeah, well, I was going to share an idea, maybe not the one that you were thinking, but to address some of the questions around, you know, after students identify the challenges, like where do you go from there? And often the drop-off point is them then reaching out. Well, our team has done this a couple times with different groups. We, especially since the online environment, but we use this tool called Padlet, which is a board that you can create and people can put Post-it notes and comments. And so we have the students in a group do the challenge card sort. We have the digital version, which we love. And then they post a Post-it note of the challenge that they're most interested in on the board. And add a little bit of context, like maybe meaningful experiences for others. And the context is they want to work in education. And then what we do is we put some music on in the digital environment, and then we take turns commenting on everybody's Post-it notes. And it's like a collective, we share contacts, resources, ideas. We might, it's easier to give somebody else ideas than it is to think of ideas for ourselves. And we're finding that students love, like, it's so much fun to give people ideas of where they should explore, or maybe they have a contact they're willing to share or something like that. So it's been really, really successful, especially in this digital environment.
Tune in next week when Jennifer runs the Challenge Mindset webinar, the next one. I love your ideas. That's such a good one. That's so good. Thanks for sharing that. I'm really glad. On the note of the next webinar, that's a legitimate idea that you lead one, Jennifer, so let's keep that in mind. But I'm looking for everyone's ideas, because the next one that we're going to do, let's make it more specific. Okay, so I want to try to surface like the 3 or 4 most important topics, and we'll deal with them one by one. So if you could take a minute to tell me through this link, you might have to copy paste that in your browser. You know what, maybe I'll make your lives easier and I'll copy paste it myself and see how that works. Yeah, I'd love your feedback on this webinar. Yes, great. Yeah, if you could take a minute, tell me what you like, what you didn't like. I really believe in getting feedback. It's really helped drive this whole idea forward. For those of you who want to pick up the challenge cards, you can get them at mysparkpath.com. Or using this form, we can meet to talk about if you want to get set up with the digital challenge cards. That's another possibility. We do have, well, I guess here's my invite to you, like just to make it more formal. Here's what I'm looking for: schools or people that already see the connection between career exploration, engagement, and student outcomes. The people who want to have a transformational impact on students and want to measure that impact, that tends to be the best fit for people who get the digital challenge card. So if that's you, I'd love to set this up where you are. Other exciting news is that I did a training session with one person to train them on the challenge mindset approach. And we recorded the entire day, okay? We condensed it down to 4 hours of footage, and we're gonna make a series of small videos that show the nuances in using the cards, what you can say, what you can ask. So I plan on editing all this video content to make it relevant and make it come to life. I hope that that's something that you'll want to tap into. And I'll be sharing that on my mailing list. What else did you want to talk about today that we haven't talked about yet? Man, I think that means we did it. And Jennifer, I'm going to take the time to go read what you write. Share the educator guide. Oh, good. Eugenie, yep, I'll share the educator guide. That's the link to the form. You've already got that. But the educator guide, if you don't have it, I'll share it with you right now. There it is. So I want to say a big thank you. I'm thrilled to see you. It really energizes me because it just reminds me about how many people are making a difference in our students' lives. They need it, right? Like, you're the ones who see the students in pain, suffering with the obstacles. They're not sure. They feel like they need to pick one thing for the rest of their lives, and you're changing their lives. I love the work that you do. Thank you for doing it. I know it's not easy, but I appreciate it. It's fantastic, and keep doing more of it. So thank you, and look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thanks for coming. Bye, Dominique, nice to meet you. Nice to see you, Simone. Bye, Danielle, nice to meet you. Oh, Andrea, you were here. I didn't get a chance to say hi. Hope you're well. Bye, Mimi, thank you. Thanks for all the great questions, Eugenie. Bye, Nicola, nice to see you. Eugenie, I don't know if we should do it in 2 weeks or something like that. Like I'll send an email out to the mailing list, maybe something like that, and we'll find a date. Yeah. Thanks, Lori, for coming. Jeffrey, you got the whole day ahead of you. I wonder what you're going to do. Thanks for coming, Kate. And Vicky Lynn, thanks for your question. And Jeanette, I don't know, Jeanette, I don't know if I got a chance to say hi, but thanks for coming as well. Let me see if I can save our wonderful chat from today before we sign off. And we also did a great poll. Okay, Mimi, Jeffrey, thank you. Kate, Vicky Lynn, thank you. I hope we get to talk again soon. All right, take care, bye.